Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown, Dunkirk, and Westfield, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County.
The Chautauqua Center.
Are you looking for affordable medical, dental, or counseling services? The Chautauqua Center is always accepting new patients at their Jamestown and Dunkirk locations. They offer discounted prescriptions and accept all insurances. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Doc Hamels, and welcome to Chautauqua Sunrise. Well, I hope you enjoyed your summer. It's now fall again. This weather is nuts. You know, you go from 90 degrees, whatever it was the other day, and it was like 58 or 53 this morning at my house. The weatherman says it's supposed to improve, though, and we'll be back up into some nice summery weather by the end of the week, but I don't get it. Anyways, hope you're having a great morning, and I want to say good morning to the world. Wherever you are, we're streaming live, and as you know, we really love hearing from you. And if you want to leave a note, some folks did last week. Great to hear from all of you. Let us know where you're from, or if not, we'll just click on your profile. We'll see where you're from. But like, we've got people that have watched us from a couple different continents already. So 2 or 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 continents. And so good to hear from all of you. I want to say good afternoon to all our listeners on WRFA 107.9, low power to the people in Jamestown. Thanks for joining us Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. Always got a good show in store for you today, and you're going to learn a lot about not Jamestown, but Jamestown and Chautauqua County, and where we stand with economic development in the future and the moment that we're in, which is well, pretty unique to say the least, and what businesses are doing to keep up during this pandemic. Anyways, stay tuned for that. Good show coming in. Well, got a few things I want to share with you today, and I want to remind you that this is a live show, and you can call us anytime during the show at 716-753-5225. And why would you call? Well, number one, you might have a question for my guest. You may have a comment about whatever else we're talking about. You may have an announcement. You know, believe it or not, clubs and organizations are working in a virtual world, but some groups are being pretty creative, so you may have something that you want to share with us and let us know. And you're going to hear about a couple of them here in a minute, that they're doing some things virtually. But it's free of charge, of course. And if you don't want to talk to me live over the phone, people do write them down, and you can't always see it, but my hand goes off here and somebody hands me a piece of paper and I read your announcement or whatever. So we're here for you guys, you know. We're here for Chautauqua County, and don't hesitate, all right? 716-753-5225. All right, the other reason why you might want to call is you might have an anniversary, a special family event or whatever, and you want to just do some well-wishing, whatever. And with that, I want to do a little reach out to two people. One who has been on the show a number of times, and he's going to celebrate a special birthday tomorrow on May 31st. My little buddy boy, Rick Mascaro. There he is over in Westfield. I don't know if he's watching. Sue, I know you're watching. You might have to give him a call to tell him to wake up. He actually forgot about our show one time, and she had to go get him, wake him up, and get him over here. Rick is a lot of fun. He's just a great person, and there he is with his little pooch and him in his tuxedo. But a lot of people don't realize that Rick does a lot of theater and productions, and he's a director, and that's him in his director outfit. Down below, he's in one of his costumes for some project that he was in. And then, of course, he was Uncle Fester in the Addams Family production, eating on what looks like a mouse. Anyways, he looks just like him, doesn't he? Anyways, Rick, many, many happy birthdays to come, and I can't wait to do another production with you. I've done a number of them with him, and we've played music together. Okay, then the next person I want to do a shout out, who's going to have a birthday on June 2nd, who is a staunch fan of the show. She's down in Pennsylvania in the Harbor Creek area. Marilyn Carroll. Her daughter gave me this information, Marilyn. Nancy told me this. So she says, you're going to be 89 years old. How is that possible? She taught third grade for 30 years down in Pennsylvania. So Marilyn, I hope you have a great day. I hope you're enjoying the show, and thanks for watching and being a fan of Chautauqua Sunrise. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. All right, and then in the opening part of the show, you see lots of introduction and photos flying by. And there's one gentleman that you always see. He's an older fellow with a hat that says veteran on there and so forth. And that's my dad. He would have been 97 tomorrow. And he was my 100th guest on this show back a few years ago. So, Dad, wherever you are, happy birthday. All right, I have an announcement from Sue Poster over in Westfield, the Chamber of Commerce over there. She wanted me to remind you that on June 5th, there will be no First Friday. That's a big event that they have every year. The first Friday of each month, they get the community out together, and of course, they're being socially astute, and they have canceled the June one. July, Sue, you're going to have to let me know about that one. That was up in the air. As everybody is, we're just kind of going from week to week and month to month. But nonetheless, many of us, including Chautauqua Sunrise, we have purchased wooden cutout lighthouses, and we're prepping them, we're painting them, we're designing them to show off our businesses, our clubs and organizations. And so June 5th, we're going to have the big unveiling of this year's lighthouse. 2 years ago, we all did Big Fish. And then last year we did wine bottles, and this year the theme is the lighthouse. And as you go through Westfield, you can see the lighthouse. They're right on the Barcelona Bay Area. So anyways, that's coming up on June 5th, so get your lighthouses ready. Last week we had the opportunity to interview Frank Fanning from the Tarp Skunks. I think I have the distinction of having given him his last interview in Chautauqua County, even though it was via Skype. You don't know this as viewers, but Frank and I stayed on the line probably a good 20 minutes later, and we were talking guitars, and he had some fabulous guitars, and we were just having a great time. I'm really so sad that I never met him in person. I've always heard great things about his ability to promote baseball, and he did get the franchise moving with the Tarp Skunks and lots of merchandise and the logos and all that. So he's moved on to another position, but Frank Fanning, if you ever happen to watch this, best wishes for your future, and I guess we'll stay tuned to see where the league goes. I know it was canceled this year, but I'm sure they're going to get somebody else to replace Frank, and we'll get them on the show. All right. Every week I harp about this. I'm going to harp about it again. If during this pandemic time, you're unemployed or you find yourself financially strapped or food strapped, there's food. Don't go hungry. Don't let your kids go hungry. I don't have the screenshot that we had before, but I do have a list, and it's not a total list, all right? But I do want you to know that there are food banks. Filling out a simple form, answering some simple questions, you can get some food for your family every single week at these locations. For instance, in Ripley, you go to the school building on North State Street. In Brockton, you go to 7081 on US 20, which actually is Portland, and they have a food bank there. St. Susan Center at 31 Water Street. In Westfield, the United Methodist Church, there's a food bank. Susan's Pantry in Sherman, 107 West Main Street. There's a food bank in Jamestown right near St. Susan's on 31 Water Street. There's one in Silver Creek. I don't have the address, but you can look these things up. Chautauqua County Rural Ministry, 319 Washington Street in Dunkirk. St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Mayville has a food pantry. Just across the line, if you go to Northeast Pennsylvania, they have the community food pantry at 30 Bothell Street. And then, of course, we also announced, Christine Ramirez let us know, and as well did Norm Green, who sent me in a message that the Salvation Armies, the one in Dunkirk and Jamestown, have food available. Most of the cases, you call in, you let them know what you need or when you want the delivery, and it's all done very, very safe, very sanitized. You set up an appointment for them to deliver food, they bring it to your door, they ring the bell, and they leave. Oh, there we go. Thanks for finding that, guys. The one in Jamestown is 664-4108. Salvation Army in Dunkirk is 366-3701. Don't go hungry. Make sure the kids are taken care of. The food is there. We all need things from time to time. Throw away the pride, throw away the ego, go get the food, stay healthy, and hopefully now with the growing season comes in, we're going to have lots of nice fresh vegetables and fruits locally grown. Okay? So there's my little blurb on food pantries, food banks. Okay, in other worlds, there's some announcements here that I want to share with you, and here we go. This is from the Infinity Performing Arts. They've dedicated themselves to music and art instruction, as you know, in the Chautauqua area. They've been around for some time now. They've been on the show. The kids come out here and do their Christmas show for us every year. Unbelievably good stuff that goes on there. But through the COVID-19 shutdowns, they are going to provide digital lessons and opportunities for kids to learn. Okay? They're stepping up. They're using technology that's available. I suppose many of you that are in the workplace still, you are working through Zoom. We were just talking earlier with my guest that our world is becoming a place where we sit in front of our computer and we look at each other on the screen and look at the little pictures of each of us, and we learn not to interrupt each other and put our pictures on mute and wait our turn. Well, people are doing instruction. They're doing all kinds of things online in Zooms and other kinds of platforms like Zoom. Okay, Infinity has successfully transitioned more than 200, registered students to online learning experiences through the dedicated help of their staff and more than 40 instructor mentors who are focused on keeping our community learning going. Infinity is now accepting new students on a rolling enrollment basis for digital music, art, dance, and theater lesson opportunities. If you're interested in participating with Infinity, and this goes for adults too, okay? It's just not for kids. They do allow adults to take lessons. I mean, you know, you had that guitar back when you were in college and you put it under your bed and it's time now because you have nothing else to do because you're sitting at home. Get the guitar out, sign up for some lessons. Give them a call, 664-0991. Okay, and just a note from Shane Hawkins, the Executive Director at Infinity. She says the following: safely keeping students learning and instructors teaching was our primary focus when we decided to transition to online learning opportunities. We recognize that this is a difficult time for many in our community, and we wanted to provide a small piece of normalcy and routine for our students. Even that has to happen online. Having a creative outlet and a connection to mentors is more important than ever right now. Okay, so you can register anytime. It's a rolling enrollment again, 664-0991. Okay, we don't have a slide for this, but if you're interested, and I suspect now that many parents are home with their kids, and it could be interesting. First 5 years, that's what it's called. This is an online virtual parenting class. This is being offered through Prevention Works. The dates are July 1, 8, 15, and 22. So this is for the first 5 years, the little guys. The program's going to run from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. It's going to be virtual. And if you want to sign up for that one, it's 664-3608. Let's see here. Then, for those of you who have a little bit older kids at home, I remember very clearly when my kids were teenagers, we did consider sending them away for a couple of years. Go to your grandparents till you're 18 and come back when you can be human again. I don't know what there is about teens. They kind of get cuckoo. Anyways, active parenting of teens. This is going to run from June 10, 17, and 24. Again, from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. You give her a call at 664-3608 and ask for Kathleen Colby. A lot of these programs are fun. You can hear other parents talking about their frustrations and joys, challenges. Kids are fun. I've got 4 of my own. I mean, it was fun, and there were times we wanted to send them off, but we found a way just to love them nonetheless. Okay, so good stuff. All right, I just had this one little blurb about Frank Fanning, and of course he sends his regards to everybody and how much he enjoyed the Tarp Skunks, and let's see here. Let's see, I'm just trying to see. The board of directors, of course, will be hiring somebody new in the future, but I'd just say stay tuned because they're going to go through some changes here, and since the season's been canceled, there isn't too much more to talk about other than get your merchandise. And you have it at various outlets in Chautauqua County, in the Jamestown area, and I told them if you had like a weird-looking skunk, send it over here, and we would make it the mascot. So I'm still waiting for a skunk to come. Randy Anderson, if you're listening, send me a skunk, will you? Okay, let's see here. June. Not a real one. A little cuddly one.
I heard they make great pets.
Many people
de-stink 'em.
you gotta de-stink them. Get rid of those stinky glands. Yeah. They're very affectionate. We watch a lot of those veterinarian shows at home. Okay, Hope and Healing Conference going to be held on June 3rd. Well, it was going to be held. Wait a minute. Let me read this. I goof up sometimes, so I got to do this right. The Hope and Healing Conference that was going to be held on June 3rd and June 4th at the State University College at Fredonia, due to the COVID-19, will be held on Thursday, June 4th only. This event will be a one-day virtual conference from the comfort of your home. The conference will address complex needs in mental health, chemical dependency, and wellness while celebrating the successes in Chautauqua County and our region. Stay tuned for an updated list of virtual conference highlights. So again, this is being sponsored through Prevention Works, and you can give them a call if you're interested in that one. It's still at that same number at 664-3608. Now, I mention this because I've been watching the news and the papers, and chemical dependency is on uprise again. We got a lot of folks that are stressing out, and for whatever reason, we seem to I don't know what the word is I want to say. We start using various things to calm us down or whatever, or make us feel better, give us uppers. There's been a lot of overdoses in the county. People are getting under each other's nerves, and there's some domestic quarreling going on. So this could be something that you might want to check out, okay? All right, this next one's new. I'm going to read it the best I can. I think I understand what it is, but we'll see. It's called #UpliftCHQ, Chautauqua. So again, #UpliftCHQ, a chalk drawing showcase. Join us in uplifting Northern Chautauqua County by participating in your chalk drawing showcase. I've never heard of this before. We are looking for artwork that inspires hope, uplifts the spirit, makes people smile and feel happy, and overall shows how you make others happy. Be creative. All ages are welcome to create chalk masterpieces in driveways, on sidewalks, and with owner's permission, of course, in front of stores. If you are in need of chalk, please contact Ida Lord at the Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation or Victoria Howell, same place, and you can give them a call at 560-5338, 560-5338, and they'll try to get you some chalk. And there's various categories, the little guys from 2 to 5, 6 to 12, 13 to 18, and for geezers like you, Justin, 18 and up, you get used to it once you get into the adult world, okay? So anyways, they're excited to see all the incredible artwork in our communities from Ripley to Irving. So you can go to the foundation's website, nccfoundation.org, for more information. Sounds like fun, something to do. All right. The next one, Chautauqua Center receives emergency grant from Relief to bolster the healthcare safety net in Chautauqua County. All right, the Chautauqua Center announced an infusion of $50,000 in emergency grant funding from the medical aid organization Direct Relief in partnership with the National Association of Community Health Centers. The center was among 518 federally qualified health centers to receive the funding last week. Which recognizes profound effects of the COVID pandemic on the finances, services, staff, and patients at the community health centers. Okay, so they're doing some great work over there, and if you haven't been to Chautauqua Center, I'm hearing good things. And I see they're going to be building a new office in Dunkirk. All right, moving along, Give Big Chautauqua 2020, or CHQ. The Chautauqua Region Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation announced the Give Big CHQ 2020 will take place again once this year from June 2nd. No, hang on. It's going to take place once again this year from June 1 to June 11. Give Big Chautauqua is an online fundraising event to raise awareness and funds to support local nonprofits. The goal is to inspire people to work together and show pride in their community and help support local causes they care about, according to Tori Eargang. She's the executive director at the Chautauqua Regional Community Foundation in Jamestown. This year we are extending the dates to more than just a 24-hour event. We hope to encourage more people to come together to celebrate Chautauqua County virtually. Last year the online fundraising event generated over $180,000 from 1,626 donors to support 97 local organizations. So folks, we all know that everybody's getting pinched financially, and that includes all the organizations that help us do what we need to protect our loved ones, kids in school, kids that needs programs, elderly services, food pantries. I mean, it's just all over the board. Veteran services, their budgets have been cut because of a variety of reasons, and so if you can find the time and the money to give a little bit, the big CHQ 2020 is coming up June 1 through the 11th, and we'll talk more about that next week. And then mark your calendar, and final announcement, the 7th Annual Family Fun Days at the Chautauqua Center is going to be held August 13th in Jamestown and August 12th in Dunkirk, and they're going to have lots of fun things going on. And if you're interested more, give them a call at 484-4334 if you want to participate, or 485-3933. So that's it for announcements. Thanks for sending those in, folks. We're going to take a break, and my guest is chomping at the bit to come on, so stay tuned.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
That commercial reminds me of our friends up there at Greystone Nature Preserve up in the Brockton area. Get out to nature, new little forest bathing. Get out there and feel nature. It's all around us. All right, enough of that. I want to welcome back to the show Mark Geise, who has a long title, but he's in charge of a whole bunch of things he'll talk to you about. But he's from the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency and Chautauqua County government. I mean, you're like everywhere. Good morning, Mark.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me again.
What's your official title? Go ahead.
Deputy County Executive for Economic Development and the CEO of the Industrial Development Agency.
Now, once upon a time, that was like two different people, wasn't it? Or was it?
No, it's been, they
just
actually, when now currently Senator Borrello took over, we kind of reorganized things and renamed some things. And And so it was the Director of Planning and Economic Development
Okay.
was the title before, and he changed it to Deputy County Executive for Economic Development.
Was there ever a deputy executive?
No, it was a
director?
position, it was a newly created position. So,
Okay, so
yeah.
you're the new guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
How's it going?
Yeah, good, good.
Have you
Well,
figured out what you do?
Yeah. Well, it's been obviously all this COVID stuff has been a real challenge. It's created a lot of a lot of challenges and a lot of opportunities actually.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not all bad.
So from a government point of view, broad speaking now, just broad terms, local government has had to spend a lot of money, a lot of stuff. I mean, can you speak to any of that right now? What's going on?
Well, obviously all the workers that weren't essential are working remotely, which has put a strain on our IT department for sure.
Oh,
making
John is
sure
probably
that-
going nuts.
Oh yeah, John, and they're doing a great, John D'Angelo.
Yeah, I know
They're
John.
doing a great job making sure that everyone has access. And
So government's still running.
yeah, so things are still running. There's some folks have been furloughed, we're keeping things going, and I think we're doing a pretty good job at that
Okay.
and adjusting.
Prior to the show, we were talking a little bit about how the pandemic has influenced everything. Government works off of taxes. It
Yeah.
works off of tourism. It works off of people coming to Chautauqua County and spending money. That's not happening. So how does that look now for the coming year, I suppose, that we're in, or the present year or the coming year? I mean, because we're always projecting out, for future tax rates and that. So what's it looking
Well,
like?
the short answer is we don't know, right?
We're not out of it yet,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
It's very fluid, and we just really don't know. However, the legislature has done a good job of really looking at the current finances, with the drop in sales tax and certainly the occupancy tax and
that's
what
for
it-
hotels and things like this.
Yep.
Okay.
So the occupancy tax is a tax that's levied on hotels, others that have overnight stays, and it takes that 5% tax and then divvies it up between taking care of our watershed, right, lake management, that
Right.
kind of thing, and tourism. So those tourism dollars go to different agencies, people like the CCVB and others, to help support their activities, to bring more people in, to put more heads in beds.
Right.
And so certainly every year we project out what we think it's going to be based on historical,
Sure. So what we all
historical
do, yeah.
knowledge. So
Yeah.
this year, we came out and we thought there'd be a slight increase, and of course then the COVID hits, and so now the legislature has gone back and wisely has reduced what they're allocating to.
Can't spend what you don't have.
Yeah, community. So there's community contracts and there's occupancy tax contracts, two different things, and we've now gone back to those agencies and given, basically told them we're going to amend their contracts and give them significantly less than what we were.
Well, talking with a variety of people over weeks now, I think that's just the way it's going to be. Whether it's
Yeah.
a business, a school district, a government, the local restaurant or whatever, everybody's having to redo their finances. I mean, totally.
Yeah.
It's a new issue that we're dealing with, and like you say, you're not even sure where we're all going to come out at the end on this.
When we, this isn't funny at all, but
No.
when we contacted those agencies, we said, good news and bad news. The good news is you're getting cut by 20% or whatever it was. The bad news is we don't know if this is going to be the end of it.
Yeah.
Because until we get to the third quarter and really evaluate our finances, then we really don't know what that looks like.
Right, and with the summer events being canceled,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's sort of like the cycle is broken right now. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't have that continuous flow of things. The the tourism doesn't come, therefore we don't have events. We don't have events, we don't have the money coming in, we don't have the tourism. So it just chases itself. And I think that's just sort of like what we're seeing right now, is trying to restart the pump, restart the machine.
Yeah.
But at the moment, we can't on a variety of things. So where do you see Chautauqua County right now as far as reopening and all that sort of thing? I mean,
Well, obviously, we have to follow the governor's lead on this, and the phase 2 businesses, we'll see, but we're hoping that we hear an announcement this coming Tuesday that the phase 2 businesses will reopen.
so who would that include in Chautauqua County?
So that would be in-store retail, administrative support or administrative services, real estate, and I just don't want to forget, professional services. So those 4 sectors would be part of phase 2.
Now, this is not to be a smart question or smart aleck question, but how does somebody know if they're in one of those categories? Because I've again had these discussions. People say, well, do I fit in this category if I open up? And so are people designated by government, or how do you know that you're in professional services?
Well, and I have that information with me. If you wanted me to read that off, I could. However, I think the easiest way for people to know is to go to the website, the forward.ny.us. Forward.ny.us.
.ny.us. So in there, these are the guidelines?
Yeah. There's a lot of information in there, the guidelines, what sectors fall under what phases, all of that kind of information. So now even if after a business looks at that and they still don't know, they can contact me personally, and I will contact Empire State Development and get an answer for them.
So how do they get hold of you, Mark?
I can give you my my cell phone, or how about my work? My work phone is 661-8902.
Okay, and if you're not there, you can leave a message?
Yeah, leave a message, and then
good.
I'll get back to them.
Okay, great, that's awesome.
And I can talk more about that if you want.
You can do anything you want.
Yeah, well, no. So what's really important is the businesses could actually open, but they're risking, if they don't go in and certify and do a safety template, they're really risking, number one, the health and safety of their workers, but also if they get audited, if you will, by the Department of Health, they could get in trouble. So I really want to stress that companies need to go to that website and they need to read the guidelines. There's really 3 sets of guidelines. There's some summary guidelines. There's detailed guidelines for their sector, which requires a certification at the end of that. So they read through it. At the end of it, they click on a link, and there's about a 2-page simple questionnaire, which then certifies them that they've read that, and that goes to the state. And then there's a third document, which is a template, a safety plan template, which they need to then go in and fill out, print it out, share it with their employees, and post it on the premises. So It's really simple. Certification, safety template.
Okay.
And then have that on their premises again, to protect themselves, protect their workers, protect their customers.
So again, if someone has some question about this template, they can call you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right.
And if somebody doesn't have access to the internet for whatever reason, the IDA, we can help them through that process.
Excellent. This is the thing I love about this show, is where we can take an agency like yours and really dig into it. We hear about these agencies or corporations and things, and you get a general idea, but the nuts and bolts, you can work person to person, business to you, and help them get out of this.
Absolutely. I mean, we've done a lot of things at the IDA. Number one, I guess we've disseminated information. So any new news that's coming out, we've been pushing it out. We've been working very closely with the Chamber of Commerce and the Visitors Bureau and others to make sure that we're all pushing that information out, that we're posting it on our websites, that we're sending it out to our extensive contact lists. The other thing that we've done is provided resources. I mean, right when this whole thing hit and the pause was put into place by the governor, we created, within a few days, a working capital loan program. So we looked at our loan fund and we said, well, what balance do we have that we could lend out? And we actually created a new program and got permission from the Economic Development Administration to do this, where we lent out $10,000 at a pop to 25 different businesses for working capital. And we had that lent out, we created a program guidelines, an application, and we had that lent out within 4 weeks. So 25 businesses were the recipients of $10,000 low interest loans that really required no collateral. Payback terms are very laxed. We also created a personal protective equipment, PPE, grant program in conjunction with Jamestown Community College, where we're providing grants to businesses to purchase the protective equipment, personal protective equipment, and also get technical assistance from JCC on what they need to do within their workplace to protect their workers and customers.
Oh, that's great.
So really looking at the physical layout, looking at schedules, looking at everything having to do with the workplace to make sure that they're putting into place those things that they need to protect their employees and their workers. So we carved out $20,000 at the IDA, and we got that matched by some foundations, the Carnahan Jackson Foundation, and others to match that 20. So we had $40,000, and we basically committed that to 40 different businesses.
Wow.
Within a few weeks. So we're helping that way as well.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Okay.
And be thinking about a scenario right now of a business, and a lot of us work for other people. A lot of us work for a corporation, a manufacturer, or whether a system. The frontline people don't really realize what has to go on during the pandemic right now to keep the business afloat.
Yeah.
And why would they need $10,000? Why would they need these loans? Because people aren't getting this. They don't realize the reason why businesses are shutting down or moving or whatever. Can you kind of go into a detail why
Well,
somebody would
obviously,
need all
if they don't have any revenue coming in
Yeah.
because they're not open for business, the bills continue.
Yeah, but they're
They still
going
have
to they're
mortgages.
going to say, well, all the employees are unemployment insurance. You don't have to pay them. So what's the big deal here?
Well, a lot of them do still pay them, and they still have a mortgage, and they still have utilities, and they still have bills to pay, like any of us, And so many times with financing, it needs to be used typically to build something or committed to something. Very rarely do you get it for working capital, and that's
Right.
where really what I'm talking about here is that they could use that money for whatever needs they have, whether it's to pay the mortgage or keep the lights on or, paying their bills. So that was really meant to try to get them through this tough stretch until business came back online.
Right.
And they had revenue coming in.
And this is the thing that people, I think, forget, that it's not the big corporations that keep America running. It's the smaller ones, 10 employee type things or less. And these are the businesses that are struggling right now. And this $10,000 type thing, or the grants that are getting from the federal government, stimulus things, it's paying the mortgage, paying for the lights. People forget about unemployment insurance, health insurance, payroll taxes. I mean, there are things that we don't even think about that are having to be paid, sometimes quarterly, that you don't even think about. All of a sudden, that bill came due. Keep, like you said, the lights on and the water running. Well, if you shut off the water, fine, but then you got to pay a charge to turn it back on later on, and all those other things. So these businesses are having to make a lot of decisions. Now you might say, Doc, how do you know all this? Because I'm dealing with a family member that has a business, and I've helped this person plan out how they're going to restart. And meanwhile, they're having to get a lot of money through grants and loans to do just what you said, to keep their business afloat. Because if they close, out the window goes 20 employees, and the next person, and the next person, and the next person. So what do you see on the horizon in Chautauqua County right now? Are people closing up shops? Are they holding in there? What's going on?
Well, you've heard the recent news about Jamestown Metal Products.
Front page news today.
And Truck Light, and so, really, my fear is that you have these companies that were teetering before COVID-19.
So they were shaky to start with.
They were shaky to start with, and this is a death knell. You know what I mean? And we don't really know what it's going to be until the dust settles. So it's probably going to take a few months, I think, to see who gets back up and running. Supply chains have been interrupted. Can they get product? What does shipping look like? Are they still the customers in place? What's the demand going to be for certain things? I think there'll be winners. I think there'll be losers, and I can't say at this point. Certainly, there are a number of companies in the county that have done really well through this whole thing.
That's the flip side, isn't it?
Yeah.
They figured it out. They found a product that they could produce or a service, right?
Yeah, like Jamestown Plastics and Refresco has done well, and SKF.
What do they do?
Food, juices. They're up in Dunkirk. And so, and SKF bearings, and there are certain companies that have done well through this, and certain other companies. We'll see what happens.
So
we're here to help.
I'm just going to say. So it sounds to me like they've got a friend here.
Yeah.
And this is what people often say. We pay all these taxes. Well, here's a perfect example of an agency that's being supported by our local taxes to help them, their businesses, their jobs, their future. Right?
Well, and most of the IDA is not supported. I mean, we do get some funding through the county, but most of it is through. Processing fees or application fees. So most of what we do is through application fees or interest off our loans, that kind of thing, like a bank, But I mean, we're out there. A couple of exciting things is we've applied to the EDA, I mentioned them earlier, Economic Development Administration, for some funding that was provided through the stimulus.
This is out of DC, out of Washington.
Yeah,
okay.
and we're keeping our fingers crossed that we are going to be the recipients of some of this funding, that we can lend out really low interest, high risk, take a back seat to the bank, that kind of stuff to help these companies that are floundering.
When you say low interest, what are we talking here?
Well, I mean, our current LTEC loan fund is a little over 4%, but this would probably be in the low threes or, So
I wish I had.
It's if we get it, and I don't. It hasn't been locked in yet, don't quote me on that. But I mean,
but people want to know how much are we talking? Yeah. Sometimes they say low interest means 10%. No, we're talking under 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that people, they can find their way now.
Yeah.
With some of this, and they say 3%. Well, that's not so bad. Maybe I can hang in there a little bit longer.
Yeah. And I think the important thing is we have several business development managers, Christine Morabito, Carol Rasmussen, and Linda Burns. Rich Dixon is the CFO.
Sure.
Rich. And if people have any issues whatsoever and they're beside themselves, I encourage them to call us, because our business development managers can sit down with them and provide access to funding that's available in all different places, whether it's through Empire State Development has a number of programs available. We have a number of programs that are available. There are ways that we can look at that whole thing and say, you know what, you might be able to access funding here, and here, and here, and put a package together for them.
Yeah, and when I was talking about this family member, they had to do just that.
Yeah.
They had to get a federal loan, a federal grant, and then some local funding, and put the whole package together. So basically, they had to do the same thing you're saying.
Yeah.
So different state, not New York State. So that's good to know. So is there a particular industry in Chautauqua County right now, or sector, that all of us that are watching right now out
Tourism.
there? Okay, go for it.
I mean, think about it. Well, there could be an opportunity too. I always have to be
from crisis comes opportunity.
Yep, glass is half full. So obviously the tourism industry is taking a hit, a big hit, with the cancellation of the Lucy Fest,
Yeah.
you know, with the Chautauqua Institution,
The county fair.
the county
parades and
fairs,
things,
you
yeah.
know, oh boy. Now, so obviously that's going to be a big hit, and you know, we got to support those industries, that industry sector. Now, the opportunity, and we've been talking about this, that might be available to us is if we can kind of brand ourselves as a place for I made this up, a safecation,
Oh, I like that.
right?
Yeah.
You know, we have a lot of open air. We have a lot of, you know, tens of thousands of acres of state forest land
Sure.
and lakes
Rails and trails
and
and-
trails and things to do outside. And if we can attract people to come here because they feel safe and they can be outside and they get that fresh air.
So it's really incumbent upon the folks that are in this industry to get the word out there.
Yeah.
In that commercial break we had there, we had the kayakers.
Yeah.
The kayaking is
Yeah.
huge in this area.
You know, I got to tell you a kayaking story real
Yeah.
quick. I've taken 2 trips down the Chautauqua River in the last few
nice.
weeks from McRae Point, you know where that is in Jamestown, down to back behind the National Comedy Center. Now that's
Oh.
navigable all the way down
That'd be
there,
cool.
and we're working on a project right now to open that up to boat traffic.
Very nice.
And then out to the mouth, of course. And we went about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it was kind of a cloudy day, and there was a couple of boats out there. But we went last week, Friday, and there was dozens of kayakers on the Chautauqua River, all outside enjoying. There was fishermen. There was tons of traffic.
Socially distant,
Yep.
being smart. There's no opportunity, hopefully, of contracting anything, and getting out in nature. And you know, probably if they could support the local restaurants by calling in for their curbside service. I mean, this can be done, right?
Yeah. Well, and you know Lawson Boat. So are you familiar with that on Fluvanna Avenue?
pretty sure,
We
yeah.
help them, and they've their group there has put a lot of money into rejuvenating an old marina that was there that was defunct, and it's beautiful now. And they've got water bikes, and they're going to have kayaks. Now, you ever seen a water bike?
Yeah, I have, but I didn't know we had any of those.
Yeah,
in the
they
county. Those would be
they have a whole
fun.
bunch of them down there now that are available.
It's
for
like
rent.
a bike with pontoons on it, right?
Yeah, and you pedal, and there's a propeller on
Hey,
it.
that's what Randy can do. Give up the other bike.
But anyway, so there are opportunities for people to get outside and do that kind of thing, and we have the assets here. We've got the natural assets that we can really market to the outside world. Say, come here to Chautauqua County. It's a great place to safecation.
So right now, I'm thinking this might be an opportunity, even though we're kind of in a lull. This could be a good incubation period to come up with some new ideas.
Yeah. And so we've been talking about Andrew Nixon at the Visitors Bureau and Todd Tranum at the Chamber, and we've been kicking around this idea, the Partnership for Economic Growth, which I want to talk about before you let me go here. But you know, we've been kicking around this idea, like what does that look like, and what is that strategy for branding, for branding us?
Safecation.
Yeah, I don't know if
I
that's
love
good
it.
or
I
not,
mean,
but
right now we'll use it.
Yeah,
Safecation.
For
And that
lack
kind
of
of
a
goes
better
right
term.
along with PJ Wendell's, Chautauqua Strong, and we've been
Yep.
talking about keeping healthy. And so, we had a little chat. We had a lot of chats before the show started, but imagine yourself, you're appointed the county executive. Was it in January? And then 2 months later, it's what I call, and you may quote me, the St. Patrick's Day massacre. Everything shut down right around St. Patrick's Day, and there you are, the county executive, and you wake up one day and you got to close your county down. I mean, how's that been going?
Well, I don't think we could have a better leader through this whole thing. I just, talk about Chautauqua Strong. PJ has just been spectacular through this whole thing. I mean, he's shown leadership skills. He's intelligent about what's going on. He's transparent. They're giving these briefings every single day. He's tireless. So I think that we've got a great leader in PJ, and he's open to new ideas, and he listens. So I think he's done a really good job through this whole thing, and certainly Christine Schuyler. With their tracing and making sure that they're locking this thing down. So I think the county is in a good position. Of course, we're tied to Western New York, so as goes Buffalo and
Yeah.
Erie County, so
Yeah.
goes Chautauqua County. So, but we're doing our part, I think, and being responsible through this whole thing.
Well, as you know, we produced and developed some PSAs a while back with various offices of the county, and they sat right in your chair, and I got to interview them and talk with them all, and just so impressed by our county officials and their desire to keep everybody healthy and to hang in there and be cheerleaders. And
Yep.
so we've done okay. I mean, I know we've had some outbreaks here and there, minor ones, but the numbers are relatively low. And, I think it's a credit to all of us that are watching here right now and listening.
And I think it goes way beyond just the county. I mean, if you look at the foundations, what they've been doing,
absolutely.
you look at the, like I said, the chamber, the visitors bureau, everybody has kind of stepped up here, I think, and put their battle clothes on and have gone towards the fight.
We all say Chautauqua County is a great place to live, and I believe that. I mean, I grew up in Buffalo, and I love my family back in Buffalo, but I love Chautauqua County.
Yeah.
And this is when you really get to see people's true strengths and values, and we're shining, man. I mean, we're really doing it well.
Yeah, I think so too. When I was talking to you about that working capital loan program, that became a model for the state.
Did it?
Yeah, we had all kinds of calls from county executives and IDA directors and even the New York State Economic Development Council.
Excellent.
Asking us to share that information with them because they wanted to model our program. So, we're doing a lot of things here. I think that we're not too big, but we're not too small. We're kind of the right size, and so we can be kind of pretty flexible, and we can move quickly. So,
Great.
yep.
Now, you said you wanted to talk about something before we had to leave, so I'm going to bring it up right now.
Yeah.
But one second. Folks, you're watching Chautauqua Sunrise, and we got about 7 minutes left, and you still can get a phone call in if you want to give us a holler and ask Mark a question. It's 753-5225. All right.
Yep.
Partnership Economic Growth.
Yep.
What's that all about?
So the Chautauqua County Partnership for Economic Growth was something that Senator Borrello really initiated when he took office a couple of years ago, and when he appointed me, I was thinking the same way, and I'd been thinking that way for a while. How do we get all of the economic development partners throughout the county together, working together, instead of in their own separate silos? So we did a lot of work. We hired a consultant to help us figure out what does that look like, what does the organizational structure look like, what makes the most sense, and how do we bring all those partners in so that we're all basically reading off the same sheet of music instead of competing with each other. And that's exactly what we've done. We hired Camoin, which is an expert in that industry. We under the umbrella of the Chautauqua Region Economic Development Corporation, CRITIC, which is a kind of an arm of the IDA, but it's a not-for-profit arm. We've created this new entity. We've got a board of directors. We've got an advisory board that's made up of the private sector businesses. We have 5 work groups.
Wow.
Those 5 work groups are economic development, workforce development, community development, tourism, and housing.
There you go. Wow.
Those 5.
Okay.
And so if you think about economic development in those terms, it makes sense that all of those things, those are kind of the 5 pillars of economic development, at least in my mind.
Believe it or not, someone's on the phone right now that does workforce development. You want to talk to her?
Sure.
Good morning, caller.
Well, good morning, Mark. Good morning, Doc. This is Linda Spalding. I work with the Senior Employment Program, and I work very closely with Chautauqua Work. It's,
So you probably know my wife. You probably know my wife, right?
I've known her for years, and she's been so helpful. It's great to see you on the show, and that's how we get things accomplished, by getting together and collaborating. And so it's good to see you on the show and hear you talk about the situation that we're presently in. So congratulations to everyone. I do want to quickly say that I do have openings with our senior employment program. People are calling me, and I have slots to fill, and there are jobs as soon as we can get going out there. The number for the Chautauqua County Office for the Aging is 753-4471 for the senior employment program and other senior services.
Linda, really, really quick, what type of jobs are you looking to fill right now?
I have a lot of things. I have clerical, I have transportation, I have nutrition, I have just about anything that you can think of.
Okay, so
Now,
there you have it.
these are what the senior employment programs, and also in the private sector, I do have a position open for drivers too.
Excellent. Okay, folks, if you're looking for work, give Linda a call.
Okay.
All right.
Have a wonderful weekend.
You too, Lynn.
Thank you for
Thanks.
calling. Now, I do want to mention also that, Nate Aldrich.
I know Nate.
Yeah, so we hired Nate, about a year ago to manage the Partnership for Economic Growth, and he's spectacular. And
Yeah.
he's just doing
He was
such
with the
a great
foundation.
job.
We were up
Yeah,
north.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you know Nate, and so we're really excited about this, and we've actually are right in the final stages of developing an economic development strategy. So again, that's really looking at what are our assets, what are our challenges, what things should we be concentrating on in terms of the next 5 years, the next 10 years, so that we're not kind of randomly just chasing things that don't make sense. That this is
I know exactly what you're saying.
Quantitative analysis of where we are.
I'm sitting here trying to figure out how in the world you got the ship to be steering in the same direction.
Yeah.
Get everybody on this board. That must have been a lot of work.
Well, yeah, and I mean it's still evolving.
Yeah, sure.
We're just getting off the ground here, and I'm feeling really positive about it, and everyone seems to be on board. So it's a good
That's
thing.
really good because, there's been times where people just feel like, it's helter-skelter. And like you said, sometimes, you see, oh, that looks good over there. And everybody runs that way. And then, I read a book. I saw, I went to a convention, and they go all over the
Or
place.
think about this, there's limited resources at the state level, and if you've got 3 different entities in Chautauqua County all applying for the same pot of money, and there's only going to be 10 awards across the whole state, then at least 2 of those 3 have probably wasted their time instead of working together, saying, okay, maybe we do it this year, maybe next year you can apply for it. Just like
Help
that,
each other out.
coordinating.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Mark, we're down to about 1 minute and 45 seconds left. I'm going to let you say whatever you want to the folks about what the agency does and anything you want them to know.
Well, again, the IDA is a public authority created by the state of New York. We've been around for about 40 years, and we are empowered to provide incentives, tax incentives for startups typically, and for companies that are expanding and creating jobs. So we're all about creating jobs, and we're providing incentives for those companies that are expanding or locating here that are creating jobs. And we work very closely with the municipalities and the other economic development stakeholders to make these projects happen. Things like a Phoenix, right, up in the North County. And we've done dozens of Petrie.
Right, they're
you
back.
just heard,
they're
Petrie
back.
is
Good for
coming
you.
back in Silver Creek, and we work very closely with the Habib family, and to get that place back and running, creating 40+ employees.
Yeah.
So that's really good
Significant.
news. So anyway, so that's what we do, and we've got a really awesome staff, a great team, and so companies, I would urge them to reach out to us if they've got any needs or challenges.
Okay. And they can give you guys a call at 661-8902.
That's my direct number at work, but it's 8900.
Okay.
Yep,
And they can-
661-8900 is the general number there.
Okay, great. Well, we run out of time. That went fast.
I know, it always
But
does.
I'm really encouraged because for some people watching might say, oh, this is kind of cut and dry stuff. This is what makes the county go round, is the jobs, the work, the finances and all that stuff. And I'm really appreciative of all the hard work you guys are doing behind the scenes, really. Folks, I hope you enjoyed that and got a little insight of what's going on here in the county. And we're coming out of this. We're going to be okay. And folks like Mark Geise is making sure it does. So thanks a lot. We're going to see y'all again next week. It'll be June. So have a great weekend and enjoy the nice weather. And be safe out there. Wear those masks. Take care now.